Hello Dale students, this is Mr. Rubio. Today we're going to be watching a video discussing some of the whys, some of the hows, and some of the strategies for taking SBAC tests. We're going to be doing our SBAC testing starting next week, and we want to make sure that you are prepared and motivated to do a great job this year. So sit back and listen in, and we're going to be talking some more with your teachers about how you can be prepared for SBAC testing. Alright, so let's talk about the why. Why do we bother doing SBAC testing? There's some really important information that we get from students in their learning levels each year. Sometimes we use your grades from your teacher's classes. Sometimes we use projects or portfolios that you put together in class. Another way in which we get information is by taking testing. Some of you took the LPAC testing earlier in February. This is just another way we can collect information on how much you've learned. It's another way of collecting that. It's important though because those scores can help you succeed in a lot of other areas in school. For example, if you don't like taking the LPAC, if you do really well on the SBAC test, it can actually get you out of the LPAC testing. Additionally, if you want to have a seal of biliteracy on your diploma when you graduate high school, a big part of that seal of biliteracy expectation is that you will do well in the SBAC testing, you'll be passing it. Additionally, if you want to be in honors classes or if you want to stay in honors classes, we do look at, and your teachers will be looking at your SBAC test to make sure that you're at the level you need to be to stay in honors classes, or if you want to join an honors class, that you can be in there because you've done so well on the SBAC test. In high school, a lot of these test scores are used to help make sure you're in the right class. And if you can jump ahead, you can avoid taking some boring remedial classes in high school. Also in college, getting a high SBAC score as a senior in high school, graduating, you can actually skip on other courses, and that would save you money when you get to college. So taking this test is really important. Now you guys are in 7th and 8th grade, so they're not going to show up for college necessarily, but it's really good to start practicing now and getting prepared for what is going to be important test taking strategies when you get to college. Lastly, we're going to be looking at this information to see how we can further support you at school. So make sure you do your best. These tests do really mean something. It doesn't mean everything about you, but it means something, and it's important, and we want to make sure that you are taking it seriously. Alright students, so when you look at this chart right here, this gives you the 4 different levels of the SBAC test. You're going to be looking later on inside your Aries account. You're going to log in on your Chromebook and find out what did you get last year, either as a 7th grader or as a 6th grader when you took the SBAC. Find out what your level is going to be and start thinking through what's it going to take for you to get up to the next level. Or if you got the highest level, what's it going to take for you to stay at that level? Teachers, what you might want to do is pause and go on to Chromebooks with students to go on to Aries. When you're ready to move on, you can find your spot in the video to discuss test-taking strategies and preparing for the night before testing. All right, students, so you're going to be starting testing on Monday, April 15th. And what are we going to be doing the night before testing? How are you going to prepare yourself to be ready? Well, one thing you really want to do is to be going to bed on time. Bring your earbuds, pack those into your backpack for school because you may use your earbuds when you are testing. You cannot bring ear pods, however. If you have those ear pods, the Bluetooth, those are not going to work, so make sure those stay in your backpack or just stay home. If you have any family or friend problems, make sure you think about how to make sure those are dealt with and taken care of before testing. You don't want to bring drama and have to obsess and be worried about drama when you're doing your test. Also, talk to your parents about any concerns or worries you have about the test. It's okay to be worried. What matters though is that you feel supported and encouraged to do your best. So you've gotten a good night's sleep the day before, you've set your alarm, you're ready to go, you wake up, start your day as a normal routine, whatever you do in usual mornings to help you get ready to school. As long as you're on time, make sure you do those same similar routines to feel like it's a normal day. Eat a good breakfast. If you eat school breakfast in the morning, you come in the cafeteria, make sure you get here early enough to get your school breakfast so that you're not rushing around trying to get food while you're running to period 1 class. That's especially true if you have period 1 English. So make sure you get that breakfast taken care of. Think about what you're going to do when you get home to relax and to kind of feel like you've taken a break for the day after testing. And then most importantly, think positive. The more that you feel positive and you think positive, the better you're going to be and the better you will do on the test. Really important, students, is that your teachers are going to be making sure you have the best conditions available for testing. They've been planning this for the last 3 or 4 weeks, so make sure you do your part in making sure you have a good testing environment. The most important one is to make sure your cell phones are put away in your backpack and lined up wherever the teacher asks you. This is for testing security. If any problems occur with your cell phone and taking video or whatever of the test, that's going to get everybody in our school in some pretty serious trouble. So you want to make sure that you're doing whatever you can to make sure you're not messing up other people's tests, which is what would happen if you use your phone. Follow teacher directions, make sure it's turned off all the way, put it in your backpack. Your teachers will tell you where to store your backpacks before you get started testing. All right, let's think about pacing ourselves. Once the test gets started, make sure you pace yourself. Don't spend too much time on one question. If you see that some questions are easier, go ahead and get to those. And you want to come back to a harder question, flag it, and then come back after you've finished. Come back to those questions that you've put the little flag. There's a little flag that you can click on to remind you to come back to that question later on. SBAC is going to have a lot of different ways in which it's going to be testing what you know. Sometimes it gives you multiple choice questions. Don't change your answers. Once you've put an answer down, you think it's right, make sure that if you have to change your answer, that you're pretty sure that you're making the right choice there. Try to answer every question. If you're not sure, don't leave it blank. Make sure you've used the most intelligent guess if you're not sure. Some questions actually in SBAC have multiple answers, so make sure you read carefully those directions if you have actually more than one correct answer to put in. You're going to see what that looks like when you take your practice tests later this week. Really helpful strategy is when you go through a test question, you see that some of them are wrong, and you know for sure those are wrong answers. Make sure you kind of clear that one out of the way and make sure it's out of your mind, and look only at the question answers that you think are the correct answers. If you know that one of them is not the right one, use that process of elimination. By the way, teachers, if you have anything to add, feel free to pause the video at any point throughout the presentation here and chime in with any experiences or stories that you have, ways that help you be prepared when you take your tests. Students, process of elimination. Make sure that when you're removing those answers that you know are absolutely wrong, what happens is you actually have increased your percentage of possibly getting that question right. So a really big important deal is to make sure that those questions that you know are absolutely wrong, make sure you clear those out of your mind and don't even pay attention to those. Look at question answers that you think are right. Focus on those and how you can make the best answer possible. In order to give you the best chance for success, students, we're giving you 5 days of testing for each subject area. You're going to have 5 days of testing for language arts and 5 days of testing for math. 8th graders that take science, you'll have 5 days. Guys, we don't want you to rush through the test. However, if you finish early, go back and make sure you've checked that you've answered all the questions and that you can reread some of the questions that you're not sure about. The key thing here is not to rush and to make sure that you're paying close attention and not making silly errors or mistakes. Using keywords or phrases is always a really helpful strategy. So make sure you're looking for those keywords and phrases that can help you write out or give the best answer possible. Many times when I've taken tests and I've made a mistake and put the wrong answer, what I realized is that I was answering a question, but I wasn't answering the question that the test was giving me. I was answering a question that I thought it was asking. So make sure when you're finding an answer for a question, make sure that's the answer that matches that question that's being asked. If you're not totally sure, reread it, look at some of the possibilities, and make sure you're always going to answer that question, not the question that you think it's asking. Here's a really great strategy. It's taken me some time to get better at this, but I think overall this is a really good one. If you have to read a passage, which for your English language arts, you're probably going to be doing that, a bit of that, check the questions first before you move on to reading that passage. It'll give you some helpful clues and hints for what to look for when you're going to be answering those questions. Read the questions first, then you'll go to your passage and read it. If you complete a math problem and you look at the answers that are being given, but the answer you came up with isn't on there, don't worry, don't stress out. If it doesn't match, reread the problem, recopy the numbers, and try solving again. Sometimes it's a matter of a simple small math error, and you can go back and make the correction and get the right answer. The key thing is not to get too frustrated with yourself. You got this, you can do it. Just remember how the different formulas go, and you'll be fine. If you have time remaining on your test, think about the questions that you know about which you know nothing or almost nothing. Check your answers, but don't try to change them all the time. Sometimes you get the right answer the first time around, but reread it and double check and think through how you answered and what made you choose that answer to that question. Most of the time you'll be right, but just always make sure that you don't change it just to change it. Time. Lancers, here's the good news. Time is going to be on your side. When it comes to the SBAC test, if you run out of time after those 5 days of testing with your teacher and you didn't get to finish everything, we're going to call you back in and we'll help you wrap up and finish up those tests. So don't worry if you run out of time. Also, you don't want to obsess or spend too much time around one particular question. You do want to make sure you're moving on. But if it comes down to it and you need more time, Lancers, we've got your back and we'll get you some extra time if you need it. All right, Lancers, just remember, it's okay not to know everything. Your teachers can attest to this as well. They don't know everything. They know a lot about their subjects, but they don't know everything, and that's okay. These tests have questions designed to challenge the limits of your knowledge at a grade level above your current grade. They're really meant to try to push you to find out how much you really do know. So if you feel like some of these test questions are difficult, that's okay. It's really pushing you to know how far the limits are of your understanding. Do your best. Take a deep breath. Don't freak out. And you're going to be awesome, Lancers. We know you will.